Okay, good morning, everyone, or I guess afternoon, depending on where you are. But in any event, welcome to the Heroes of the Edge, real-time defense without compromise. I'm Corey Still. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Alliances here at Corero Network Security, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have my buddy with us today, Nick Davey from Juniper Networks. Nick is the Director of Product Management. And hey, Nick, welcome, man. Thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, Corey. I'm really excited to be here.
For sure, man. And you and I have been in the trenches for a while now. We've been on many opportunities, many client calls, and we have actually seen firsthand how the threat landscape has evolved over time. So we're going to talk about something we're both passionate about, and that's protecting the internet, at the edge in real time without compromises. No choosing for protection and budget. Sound good today?
That's exactly what we need to talk about, Corey. Let's do it.
All right, man. Well, let's dive in.
Awesome. So, Corey, we've been saying for years that it's a dangerous internet out there, and I think folks are finally starting to see it and believe it. Now that we're starting to recognize that these threats exist, how can customers improve their reaction, their detection? How can they deal with them better?
That's really the kind of the million-dollar question now, isn't it? Right? For years, security meant compromise, right? You had protection, but you paid for it with latency, complexity, and some kind of performance degradation, right? But at Corero, here's what we've learned, right? We use real-time sampling and mirroring of traffic at the edge, right, to give complete visibility without any performance penalties, right? That sounds pretty good, right? Think about it. Your routers are already processing this traffic. We're just adding intelligence to what's already happening. And unlike other vendors, right, we don't require network re-architecture or latency-laden scrubbing centers, none of that stuff, right? Traditional solutions often have hairpin traffic to centralize scrubbing centers, right? You're adding latency even when there's no attack. Our approach processes threats right where they are, right where they enter the network, right? The network edge, right? And attack mitigations happens in seconds right at the front door, right? We provide always-on packet level monitoring with automated machine analysis. We have all the tools. We know exactly how to use them, and where and that's where machine learning helps everything, and where that comes into play, right? And where this all comes together, right, for us in terms of in real life results, right? TierPoint saw their DDoS mitigation drop from 6 minutes to 18 seconds with our joint solution, right? You can follow that up on LinkedIn. Anybody wants to look at it, you can definitely search for it, and you'll find that information, right? We identify and block very significant like attacks in seconds, not minutes, right? And do a search on Newswire for Corero Network Security, and you'll see all of that, right? And wouldn't it be great, Nick, if the network could be taught how to protect itself? Well, that's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And from our perspective, this is exactly what the MX and PTX routing platforms were built for. High performance, line rate, traffic processing, routing, as well as enforcing firewalling policies. Corero software unlocks all of those capabilities, kind of identifying the evil bits in the traffic and helping us figure out what to forward and what to filter. And yeah, those capabilities are always there in the hardware.
And speaking of that hardware, obviously we know that both enterprises and service providers alike have invested millions in their network infrastructure, right? So I ask you, how can organizations take advantage of their existing spend while providing comprehensive DDoS protection rather than having to stand up separate bespoke infrastructure?
I mean, that's the conversation I'm having with network leaders all the time. They've built these world-class, industry-leading networks with Juniper infrastructure, and then they're told they need to spend more on separate DDoS infrastructure. It feels like you're paying twice to deliver the same services. Our philosophy is performance and capability without compromise. HP networking has always built intelligence into our packet forwarding engines to unlock industry-leading speeds. And so all of the capabilities have always been there. We've always required the right insight or the right platforms, though, to identify the right types of traffic and then what to do with it. And that's where Corero comes in. Corero integrates with the PTX and the MX series platforms with netconf. So it sits in the background, leveraging the line rate mirroring or sampling capabilities of MX and PTX series routers, and identifies traffic to block or picks out, like I said, the evil flows in the traffic, and pushes rules down to the routers to instantly mitigate those attacks, like you mentioned. It's software-defined intelligence, but the actual forwarding plane is the actual forwarding decisions are enacted by the routers that you already own. So there's no rip and replace, there's no separate infrastructure, there's no magic black boxes or appliances required to do this. It's the network that you've already invested in, delivering an increased ROI.
And so that's exactly the point, right? Let's utilize what we have, right? But for everybody on the call, on the video, here's what this means practically, right? Customers use their existing router infrastructure, right? No additional appliances or cloud scrubbing is needed, right? You can phase this in, phase deployment, right? It means you can control your spending. It's not a budget killing day one kind of drop everything, from a budget at once. And the quick time to value means faster ROI, right? As you just sort of alluded to, right? And this is the type of business case framework that you can present confidently to leadership on Monday, right? Or tomorrow, right? Instantly, right? So Nick, like we've seen, I mean, I've seen it, I know you've seen it, right? Where too many traditional DDoS solutions ironically fail over when they face the exact traffic volumes that they're supposed to protect against, right? What makes our approach fundamentally different from some of these legacy, enforcement and mitigation sort of approaches that become the bottleneck themselves?
Well, Corey, at HP Networking, we've always believed in distributed intelligence and distributed forwarding. And the goal of that, of course, when Juniper Networks burst onto the scene all those years ago, the goal was to eliminate centralized bottlenecks in internet forwarding. And again, the mission is what it's always been, right? To save the internet. And so the network itself should be that distributed forwarding endpoint. And really, in today's modern and dangerous internet, that means that the routing infrastructure also needs to be a part of the distributed security enforcement infrastructure. So what that means in practice is that every router port, every edge of your network becomes a protection point. There's no single point of failure. So there's no, like you said, there's no redirecting into a scrubbing center or a black box complex that you're going to be processing traffic on. Instead, as networks evolve, as they're built up to satisfy increased traffic demands, the capabilities of the router to filter, to forward, to shape traffic grow along with those capabilities. So you're never constrained anymore by infrastructure. Instead, the infrastructure strengthens itself under load. So you're never, like you said, you're never failing closed. You're never helping complete an attack. Instead, you're always going stronger and more resilient in the face of more traffic. And that's really the magic, right? This works because in a centralized model, you still have a big stack of something somewhere doing the magic. And in our way, you're unlocking the power of the packet forwarding engines in the MX and PTX series routers to spread that protection across all of your ingress points.
That's like super brilliant, right? Because the attack is essentially helping you defend against itself, right? And from the Corero side, we've designed our solution specifically for distributed deployment sort of infrastructure architectures, right? With no single points of failure. There's a cost-effective scaling as a result of this as well that allow the linear growth with existing infrastructure. So there's no exponential pricing models that come as a surprise, right? Your protection grows as your network grows automatically and organically, right?
Exactly. Now we've talked about some of the protections and how we can leverage a cost savings here, but let's talk about the opportunity side. How do we turn the frightening opportunity or the frightening DDoS attack into a benefit that we can offer to our customers?
And this is where it gets really exciting, right? Especially for service providers, hosting companies, and MSSPs on this call, right? And the key is actually turning your infrastructure investments into a revenue generating opportunity, right? We have this service called DDoS protection as a service, and it's a key growth area that gives service providers the ability to monetize their DDoS offering or monetize their DDoS, investment within their infrastructure, right? The same routers that's used to protect your own infrastructure can now protect your customers or your downstream stakeholders, depending upon your industry, right? You turn the protection capacity into a sellable service, right? Providing you benefit, increasing your ROI, reducing the time to value, all of those things, right? And the multi-tenant portal, with Corero allows individual tenants or departments to access and view their attack status. So you as an admin can see everything, but your customers can have their own specific view with all the drill down capability and everything, right? And then you can also white label this, as well, right? And there's real world success stories behind this, right? Linode went from manual mitigation to an automated, resilient, and scalable DDoS protection model with all that visibility built in, right? This reduced human intervention while improving customer satisfaction and network uptime. And they turn the infrastructure investment directly into a competitive advantage, right? And this creating business value goes way beyond just the peace of mind, right? We're talking about, competitive differentiation, where like within this crowded market space that we all live and breathe in, right? It helps with customer retention, right? The stickiness is important, right? It allows you to upsell opportunities within existing accounts, right? And and enhances new customer acquisition, especially for security conscious enterprises, right? So, during non-attack periods, your protection infrastructure isn't sitting idle. It's available to service customers who need it. That's just smart business.
Yeah, definitely. And from our perspective, we're seeing service providers and, like you said, hosting providers, basically anyone serving customers and connecting to the internet. We've seen this turn into a significant line of business for them. It seems like every other day that there's either a DOS attack hitting sensitive infrastructure or the very protection mechanisms that customers are relying on are falling over in the face of internet traffic. Our novel approach leverages the infrastructure already in place, leverages the capabilities of our networking platforms and the intelligence in Corero, and it does so in a scalable fashion. So customers can use this, as a service while they're protecting the infrastructure. Our customers can make money while they're protecting themselves. It's just a win-win.
And that just makes a ton of sense, right? And so, but let's talk first steps, Nick, right? If a CISO is sitting in their office right now, looking at their current DDoS solution, what it costs them, how it actually performs, what's the first conversation that they should have with their team about transitioning to this particular approach we're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, the first steps are to take stock of what you have in place, right? Anyone paying attention right now might notice that I'm a little bit of a Lego fan. So it's all about making sure that you've got the right bricks to build whatever spaceship or whatever invention you're creating. And in this case, the bricks we're going to be playing with are in the network already. Those are the MX and PTX routers that you have, or the routing infrastructure in the core and at the edges of your network. Because we're using the capabilities and the hardware accelerated capabilities of those platforms to do things like forward traffic, filter it, redirect it, or shape it, those are the kind of the primitives, the bits and pieces we're going to use to make up our new protection suite. That's the muscles we'll plug into the Corero brain to get this all done. If network's multi-vendor, and most of them are, that's fine too. That Corero brain is multilingual, so we can extend our protection across the heterogeneous edge of modern networks. It's critical to figure out where traffic's coming to and going. So we're leveraging a lot of line rate, either sampling or mirroring capabilities to identify attack traffic. And that's how we're getting those detection and mitigation numbers that Corey mentioned earlier on. So it's key to map out the ingress and egress points in the network to figure out where we can sample from to get the broadest view of what's going through our networks. And the nice thing about this approach, and we said this scales with every port, right? And the way that it scales with every port, right, is being a capability of the ports themselves. So you don't need to turn this into a huge big bang style of deployment. You can pick the impactful points in your network to turn this on. Start with one critical spot where you're going to make the biggest difference and get that quick win. Corero's insight and the intelligence we get out of our routing platforms means that you can measure things very, very detailed over 30 days to track key metrics like detection, accuracy, mitigation speed, and I mean, the thing that we're always terrified about, keep an eye on things like false positives to build trust in the platform, both yourselves and leadership. And then you can use that internal data to build a business case and convince folks that this is really as miraculous as it seems to be. This is where our partnership really shines, though. We can come in, Corero and HPE networking, establish joint planning sessions, and help our partners and our customers design solutions for their network. Right, you're dealing with a unified experience, all of the intelligence within Corero and all of the background and experience in HPE networking. We've got a great joint solution that we love to help land in customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And if we look at a potential phased implementation kind of framework, right? Like just a high level, let's go through it, right? Infrastructure assessment usually takes about 1 week or so, right? But the questions like, as you said, right? Do you have all the stuff in place? We'll assess it together. We'll help you work through that. And then, let's do a quick win pilot, right? And we've had so much success in that. PlusNet in Germany, as an example, started this with a testing phase. They could immediately see attacks that were being mitigated that weren't before, right? And this was just in a pilot, right? This wasn't even in production, right? It was just instantly they could see it, right? Next step, business case development, right? This also takes about a week or so, but we can you can do a direct cost comparison between here's our current total cost of ownership versus what if we do this with leveraging our existing infrastructure, right? And some of these performance metrics that'll come out, this whole 6 minutes to 18 seconds that we heard from tier points, experience as an example, right? And then what's the revenue potential impact here, right? Revenue saved per minute of uptime, potentially in terms of if you're going to be rolling this out as a service. Let's get detailed in terms of how this can actually benefit you and your organization, right? And then scale the let's do a scaled deployment, right? Obviously prioritize, as you said, right? But also let's do this from a point of view of scaling it properly. PlusNet, as an example, again, deployed this across their entire network, right? Serving 25,000 businesses in 200 cities across Germany, right? Just to give you some element here of sizing. And we're not talking about small scenarios, right? We do this at scale, right? The key thing is you don't have to boil the ocean. You start small, you prove value, and you build momentum. Then scale it out, right?
And that makes a ton of sense.
And then before we talk about specific next steps, I want to take a moment to talk about our partnership itself, right? Corero and Juniper have been working together since 2018, and we've accomplished some amazing things, right? You've already touched on it a little bit, but from your perspective, what makes this partnership work so well?
Yeah, I mean, it's the joint innovation that we have across the capabilities of the organization, right? It's the intelligence that we leverage from Corero. It's the capabilities built into our routing platforms. It's that 1 + 1 = 3. And if we have all of this intelligence and awareness in our routing platforms today, what does it take to unlock those? With Corero, we found the absolute partner, or the absolute best partner, rather, to add the intelligence and to add that awareness into the networks and to really take full advantage of the capabilities in infrastructure today, all of that latent capability.
Yeah, and I think you hit on something that really key there, right? Is our shared commitment to innovation, right? And we've not only with that innovation from a tech perspective, but also from our partnership evolution perspective, right? We've been partners since 2018. As I said, in April of this year, we expanded our partnership even further, enabling Juniper and now HPE networking can actually now go to market with the entire suite of products and services from Corero, right? Very much more powerful for both customers and for HPE, and obviously from Corero's perspective, right? So we're never resting on our laurels here. We're constantly innovating together. I think it's a pretty powerful story, right? And what customers tell us is customers value the performance, the visibility, and automation of this integrated solution, right? It is unique, right? It is unique in the marketplace, and it's driving unique value, right? And one recurring theme, right, is the desire for even more direct support, right, which we're addressing through coordination between the Juniper and Corero support teams, right? It's built right into the fabric of our relationship.
Yeah, it's a partnership that's built value for our customers, and it's built to last in the future. So I'm really excited about, what's coming next.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the future's kind of bright for us, right?
yeah, definitely. So we've talked a little bit about where we're at with our partnership today, but I know we're always looking ahead. So what's on the horizon for edge-based DDoS protection? What should our audience be preparing for, or kind of what should they have in mind for the future of their infrastructure?
Yeah, I think when we talk about this, we're talking about the advent of AI, and the elements of 5G come into play, and all of these things require extremely low latency. And you need something that's automated. You need something that is mature, that's going to be able to deal with this. That's going to help protect those AI and extremely latency sensitive workloads, right? And that's just going to do nothing but increase more and more over the course of time here, right? So as we look forward, like we've covered some incredible ground today, right? From near real-time defense at the edge, to maximizing existing infrastructure, to revenue opportunities with DDoS protection as a service. But I want to make sure that our audience knows what's next, right? So, what are we thinking here in terms of the immediate resources that are available to people on the call today?
Right on. So yeah, we've got a bunch of links we're going to share at this, maybe even some of my favorite QR codes. So check out the resources we're sharing. Read the details behind the case studies. This all sounds like magic, but I mean, we all know there's no real magic in this world, only science. So look behind the curtain and check out the case studies to see how this actually works, and it'll make a little bit more sense. Suddenly, once you start seeing how Corero and HP networking come together to solve these problems, it'll make sense why the detection and mitigation numbers are so low. If you're an HP networking customer right now, reach out to your account teams, or reach out to some of the friendly faces you're working with, and ask us about kind of the muscle in the platforms that gets this all done. Your account teams will have all of the details, and they'll love to tell you all about it. And third, if you're evaluating this approach, reach out to the Corero folks. They work with multiple platforms now, and have an incredible solution, and would love to talk to you a lot more about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know we've got something special lined up for January. Strategy is important, and we love telling stories, but we wanted to show a little bit more about the technology that drives all of these actions.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to be really kind of cool, right? I'm really excited about this because today you and I were talking about the why and the what, right? But on January 22nd, right, we're bringing Jason, our vice president of our solution architect team, to actually he's going to show you the how, right? And so what you'll see on January 22nd with my friend Jason and Nick here is you're going to see in a live attack simulation, right? Live real attack. They're going to launch an attack. You're going to see what's going to happen. You're going to see the Juniper router integration in action, right? There's going to be advanced attack scenarios. You're going to walk through the multi-tenant portal walkthrough, and then obviously there's going to be an interactive Q&A. But it's not just a canned presentation, everybody, right? So questions and will be addressed in real time. And if you want to ask them to do something in real time, you will see your question and how you'll see that within the infrastructure, within the portal, in real time. So it's pretty cool. It's like it's going to be the first time I've actually ever seen this in terms of a real live demo, taking potential questions and suggestions from the audience, right? So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, and I've seen some of Jason's demos in the past, and they're always pretty cool. We're definitely not going to hide behind the slides, so we're going to jump in and show you real examples. The only thing you won't have is tomatoes to throw, but I don't think that'll be it won't be that kind of talk. We're going to show you some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, if you thought today sounded interesting, tune in January. We'll show you what's going on behind the curtain and show you how cool this all actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be great. And make sure that you check out the registration link. Should be in the chat session right now. If not, you can definitely look it up on Bright Talk. It's limited to 100 attendees for the interactive Q&A. So make sure you get your spot. That's on January 22nd. It's going to be called Heroes of the Edge, the technical deep dive. And so that's going to be awesome. So I'm totally looking forward to that. And Nick will be joining us for the Q&A portion too. So you'll have both Juniper and Corero, representative and perspectives, during that technical, the technical deep dive of the session.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't miss it, folks, but I don't think I'm allowed to miss it anyway.
No, you're not. But, so thanks everybody for coming. And Nick, I want to thank you for being here today. This has really been a fantastic conversation. It's always fun to engage with you and talk about security and security at the edge with my friends at HPE. So thank you for that. I think we've shown that there's a better way to approach DDoS protection, one that doesn't, force compromises.
Yeah, definitely. And, thanks for having me, Corey. I say this to everyone listening. All of this technology exists right now. It's built out of all of the bits and pieces inside of your infrastructure already. And the key is to just unlock it. We've proven this in production in networks all over the world with, everyone from colos to hosting providers to service providers worldwide. If your question in the face of DOS attacks is why can't we, deal with this like X, Y, or Z, then your question should just be when do we start or how do we start? So yeah, take a look at the resources we shared today. Tune in later in January, and you'll see that you don't have to wait to get this type of infrastructure protection. It's available today.
Awesome. And you know what, everybody, like you'll have everything you'll need to present this to leadership, right? The business case is clear, the technology is proven, and the results speak for themselves, right? So check your email within the hour. You'll have the session recording and slides. You have the business case template. You'll have the case studies. You'll have the ROI calculator, and then you'll have the registration link for January 22nd, right? And and that'll be fun, right? So Nick, thanks again, and thanks for everybody out there. That's it for Heroes of the Edge, real-time defense without compromise. Thank you for your time, and remember, the edge is where the battle is won. Let's win it together.
Thanks so much, Corey. Talk to you all on January 22nd.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.